We made peace a symbol of ours. In the name of peace we gather here now. Oh Lord, please make these days of ours on this earth filled with peace. Salamun, 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 salam. Salamun, 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 salam. Salamun, 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 salam.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Waleed Basyouni, and I would like to welcome you in a new episode of Heroic or Heretic. In these episodes, we've been talking in length and details about the modern extreme jihadi groups and the terrorist act that took place by these groups in modern days. We've been focusing on the issues that they raised or their principles and some of the doubts or evidence that they used to justify their actions. And one of the things that we were talking about last time is the issue of how these groups view the nature of the relationship between Muslim and non-Muslims, and how they try to make the relationship is based on hate and anger, and basically every group is just trying to harm the other group, and that's how it should be. And one of the evidence that they use, وَلَن تَرْضَ عَنْكَ الْيَهُودُ وَلَا النَّصَارَى حَتَّى تَتَّبِعَ مِلَّتَهُم, that Christian Jews will not be pleased with you until you follow their way. And as you see, the verse didn't say that the Christian Jews hate you. The Christian Jews, they will not be pleased with you. So this negation, it doesn't mean necessarily what they thinking or what they're trying to establish, that means every Christian and every Jewish is just waiting there for any way to harm you or to hurt you. The reality shows that this is not true at all. You know, we all have neighbors, we all have friends, we all have people that they're not Muslims, and the history full of examples like that. And they're not trying to harm. Actually, they are loyal, they are helpful, they're willing to aid and support the Muslims. And we who live in the West, we have seen hundreds and thousands of examples, and every day in our life shows that. And I'm not using the reality to contradict the Sharia. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the verse doesn't say that they hate or they try to hurt or harm. So not be pleased with you. I'm not going to be pleased with anyone until I find, I will not be pleased with you until you be Muslim. That's right. But you know, I still respect you. I still give you the natural type of love that I have for my neighbors, for the people who are good and nice to me. Naturally, I will love them, like to support good causes.
Even eat his food.
Eating the food, marrying from them, you know, living together in peace and working together in things that is provide prosperity and bring good outcome to us in the society and in the world. So this verse cannot be used in very general term like that. And we talk about the issue of al-wala and the different levels of al-wala. So we said that not every kind of cooperation, not every work we do with the non-Muslim, it means it is not allowed. Yes, go ahead.
Yes, Sheikh. Well, after mentioning the three levels of al-wala or alliance in the previous episode, I do have an important question. How do you see the alliance of a Muslim sect with non-Muslims against another Muslim sect, like the alliance with the West now against the ISIS?
Very good. That's very interesting questions. That the alliances or the help and support, is it true that every type of support to a non-Muslim army or joining war or fighting with a non-Muslim, al-isti'ana bil-kuffar, in the fight or in the war, is it allowed or not allowed? This issue, the Muslim fuqaha debate over it. Can the Muslim go in a war together with a non-Muslim? That's not something agreed upon. Some scholars said it's allowed, some scholars it's not allowed. And those who said it's allowed, they put some guidelines for it. So it's not a black and white issue. So this area, yes, there is a difference of opinions about the scholars. It cannot be used as justification to say whoever goes in alliance with non-Muslim is kafir. Comes to the other issue, which is, what about alliance with the non-Muslim against Muslims? Maybe the fuqaha talk about the scenario of alliance against a non-Muslim, like In Andalus, for example, we find the Muslims build an alliance with maybe some Christian tribes against the Christians, or that whoever was in Andalus at that time.
He was a king and they didn't like him.
Yes, Rodriguez, I think his name was.
Rodriguez, yes.
So if this is allowed, if the fuqaha, the Muslim jurists spoke about this issue. But what about now, the building alliance against another Muslim group? Like what happened in Gulf War I. And we saw that every single Muslim fatwa committees said that because of Saddam at that time transgressed and occupied Iraq, Kuwait, which is a country, sovereign country, and he basically put their people in jail, made a lot of like transgressions, acts. He transgressed against his neighbor. They allowed this alliance. And it's not, I refuse to say, it was, regardless if I agree with this ijtihad or not, but that's an acceptable ijtihad. This is their opinion. Was not because they are sellout, these scholars. It's not because they were wrong. That's really what they believe it is the right course of action to be taken at that time. And for me, the guidelines is like this. We look at this alliance, what's the purpose behind it? If the purpose behind it is ta'awanu al-birr wa taqwa, is to help each other to do what is right, to stop evil, to stop transgression from taking place, to stop wrong things from happening, that's absolutely allowed, in my opinion. But if this alliance is meant to promote more corruption, more mischief, more people to be killed, where there's no respect for the sanction of people, that's not allowed. If you see that this government or this alliance or this military of that country will not respect the sanctity of life, do not respect the rules, will not be permissible in this case.
But what's happening now, the alliance with the West, it means more destruction in Syria and Iraq and those countries.
But I would say there is more injustice and more destruction will happen if we allowed ISIS group to take over.
Of course, yes.
That's the key point here. Those people are more evil than the others. We will more evil in the injustice that they will spread, the corruption that they will spread. As many scholars said that the Khawarij, alhamdulillah, that they never established a state. They never established, the only state they established was a non-combatant state, which is the Ibadi states in the history, which is basically this group in particular abandoned warriors, and they said, we're not going to fight. But in Khawarij, alhamdulillah, because whenever they took over, they spilled the blood of innocent people. So here you see the Marabi alliance. And for me, I'm not here to judge the alliance that's taking place now in Iraq or Syria or Yemen or anything like that. That's not my goal. My goal is to talk about the principles. And this is the problem is, my to go talk about the principle that using this principle to justify killing, to justify making takfir to the whole ummah or to the Muslim ummah is absolutely unacceptable. Because in the worst case scenario, this will be ijtihad khati. This will be a wrong ruling. But it's not a kufr ruling. That's not a kufr, that's a wrong act. That's wrong decisions. That's a sin, but it's not a kufr. And that's my goal of the discussion here. And similar to this issue, a lot of people ask, even in countries. So if I know someone, for example, is going to blow a place or go kill innocent people, absolutely, I believe it is your duty to tell the authority about that person.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely.
Even if he's
in
your
a
friend.
Muslim and non-Muslim country.
Yeah.
Because this person is about to do something wrong and evil, and you should stop that person from doing such thing. And I have no hesitation to say that this is absolutely Islamically the right course. وَلَا تَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ.
Yes.
And no doubt that killing innocent people and what we see happening is udwan, transgression, and it is a sin. I do believe the terrorist act is worse than drugs, worse than gang wars, worse than stealing and robbing banks, because it basically strips people from the most valuable thing that they have, which is their souls, their life. And that's why, as we say, if you see someone who sells drugs, you're allowed to call the police. If you see a terrorist person, you should also act in the same manner. If this has been said, I don't want us to use this as justification to make the community not trust one another and to be like spying on one another. That's not the goal, and that's not what we are. But we protect our community, we protect our country, we protect our society that we're living in. One of the things that I would just, very similar to this, there's many Muslim jurists said that the default rule when it comes to the relationship between Muslim and non-Muslim, it is that they are in a state of war against each other. قال الأصل في العلاقة هي الحرب with the non-Muslims. They're in a state of war. Yes, I understand this is a common opinion, and it is existent in the books of the fuqaha. But I think these jihadi modern groups today have misunderstood these quotes or these statements of the scholars as others. First of all, Imam al-Awza'i rahimahullah said that as-Salaf were not upon this opinion. The early generation upon that the default rule between Muslim and non-Muslim is peace, that they live in peace. And I like what one of the scholars said, that we differentiate between countries and individuals. The default rules between the individuals, between each other's, Muslim and non-Muslim, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran. وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ شُعُوبًا وَقَبَائِلَ لِتَعَارَفُوا. That's the default rule. So we get to know one another. We get to understand each other, to exchange the culture, to live in peace, to establish civilization. That's the default rule. The default rule that Muslims are supposed to give da'wah to non-Muslim, not to fight non-Muslim, not to kill non-Muslim. This is so evil way of thinking. That's not the default rule of Islam. If the default rule is to kill, why Islam said give them da'wah first? Why Islam said take the jizya? Why Islam take in a state of war? As for countries, the relationship between a Muslim country and non-Muslim countries, it is one of three. A country that declare war against Muslim, so we are in a state of war. Number two, a country that there is an alliance, there is a treaty between the Muslim country and the non-Muslim country. And if this is the case, we go by that treaty. Number three, like the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam had a treaty with Quraysh. Number three, something it called in the books of fiqh, it called al-muwada'a, which it means there is no treaty, there is no war. Basically, we are living, we coexist each other's, and there is no conflict between each other.
Like the Jews and the Muslims in the Medina.
Like many tribes that exist in Arabia at that time, they never had a treaty with the Prophet ﷺ, but the Prophet never had a war with them. Like Yemen, he didn't have a war with them, and there is no treaty between them. Like many qaba'il, many tribes that exist in Najd at that time, the Prophet did not have a state of war with them. They have a treaty, they travel, they come across each other's. There is basically leaving each other. Like what the Prophet ﷺ said, "Utruku الترك ما تركوكم ودعوا الحبشة ما ودعوكم." And this hadith in Abi Dawud, the Shaykh al-Albani said it's Hasan. So this is basically, we coexist together with no conflict. The second one, which is the treaty, I just want to mention that almost everybody today in the world, the modern days, they have the United Nations Treaty, which it says that we live in peace. We're not allowed to fight one another, to turn against each other. So that's a treaty actually define the nature of the relationship today between the Muslim world and the non-Muslims. Let's have a break and we come to talk about this, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Peaceful, 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 peace. Peaceful, 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 peace.
If you're looking for a book to read, that's going to give you what you need.
ورتل القرآن ترتيلا
ورتل القرآن ترتيلا.
Read and recite Quran as you should read it and recite it. Join me, my dear viewers, for this beautiful program of Quran for kids. In this program, we will get the chance to read some sections of the Quran and get a little bit of tafsir and interpretation of that section, and we will get the chance to ask questions and learn lessons. All of that in Quran for kids. Please join me.
When you put it in your heart, I think you're gonna say,
I love Quran.
First you gotta read it, then you understand it, then you wanna say,
I love Quran.
when you understand it.
Peaceful, 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 peace. Peaceful, 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 peace.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to our episode, Heroic or Heretic. We were talking earlier about how the Muslim country, when it comes to define the relationship between a Muslim country and non-Muslim countries, we say that there's three scenarios. Number one, where's a treaty between Muslim country and non-Muslim country. And that treaty is Hudna, is a treaty of peace, that we live, we don't fight with one another, we don't plot against each other's. And today said in the whole world have a universal treaty, which is known in the United Nations, for example, that every country have their sovereignty and they respect each other's, don't invade one another, live in peace with each other's. And by the way, this treaty, it does not need to be limited with number of years. As Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah said, and the treaty والهدنة تعقد مطلقا أو مؤقتا. It can be open treaty, no end for it. Okay? And Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah said in his book Ahlul Dhimma, beautiful talk about this issue, and he said the correct opinion among the fuqaha is this treaty doesn't need to be limited to a certain number of years. It could be, this is how the default rules. That's how the relationship between the Muslim and the Muslim. We signed this treaty to live all in peace. You know, because again, Islam is not looking for just waging war against others. Another scenario where basically people declare war against you. So in this case, there is a war exists between this country and that country. A third scenario, where is al-muwada'a, where basically we don't have a treaty with each other, but we coexisted, and we don't have a conflict. We have no interest in harming one another. So we live in peace together. So this is how it looks like. As for individuals, the relationship is based on da'wah, is based on get to know each other's, to be basically benefit one another, and to live as one, if it's inside the country, as one nation, or different nations. We look for the best interest of humanity. That's how Islam look at or define the relationship between the Muslim and non-Muslims. To say that it's a state of war, and I walk to, for example, to the gas station or to the hotel, and the reception is a Christian, and feel like we are in a war with each other. That's not right. That psychology is so dangerous, and it's so wrong in my opinion.
I think it's against the Quran message too, because لا ينهاكم الله عن الذين لم يقاتلوكم في الدين لم يخرجوكم من دياركم.
أن تبروهم وتقسطوا إليهم. It's very, very beautiful that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us, those who don't fight us, those who basically transgress against each other, force us out of home, is to be fair and just to them.
And it was the same word used for us to deal with our moms and dads.
The same words, bir and qist, is the same word we use. It used to describe the nature of the relationship between us and our parents. Very beautiful. One thing also they have, it's very weird. And unfortunately, it can be easily misunderstood. They're saying that al-kufr is the reason for making the person's blood allowed to be spilled, or for that person to be killed. Just being kafir, it justifies killing the person. It is.
How do they build on this? What
For example, they
hadith
say,
or an ayah?
so they said, for example, that I was ordered to fight people until they say La ilaha illallah. So if they say La ilaha illallah, they protect their blood and their wealth from me.
He can simply say La ilaha illallah and he doesn't believe in it.
So they said that's fine, but at least he has to say it. But we talk about someone didn't yashhad an la ilaha illallah. So said the hadith says, they said the hadith said, I was ordered to fight people until they testify la ilaha illallah. But
That's
this
so
hadith, it's another problem that they have. They pick and choose. You cannot take one narration and you forget about all the evidence that we have in the Quran and Sunnah. You cannot take one and leave tons and tons of other evidence shows that the blood of human beings are respected. There is sanctuary. There is you cannot kill an innocent person. That anyone kill one person as if he فَكَأَنَّمَا قَتَلَ النَّاسَ جَمِيعًا, as if he killed all humanity. So that cannot be ignored. وَقَاتِلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ الَّذِينَ يُقَاتِلُونَكُمْ وَلَا تَعْتَدُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْمُعْتَدِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, fight those who are fighting you and don't transgress. And by the way, this verse is never was abrogated. And Ibn Abbas radiallahu anh, Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, Mujahid, and so many other scholars said, إنها محكمة. يعني a verse never was abrogated. And Al-Awza'i, Al-Imam Al-Thawri, Sufyan Al-Thawri, the great Imam, rahimahullah ta'ala, said that this is the foundation that we have to prove that you cannot fight or kill who don't fight you or trying to kill you.
I think one of the greatest evidence of that it is not like the default way of killing like Jews and Christians and non-believers. It's not the default in Islam. There's one proof that when the Prophet used to tell the armies to go and fight, he used to tell them, don't kill so and so and so, and among them, a priest or a monk inside his
Very
monastery.
good.
So that means
Very good. So the Prophet ﷺ said, you're not allowed to kill a woman, you're not allowed to kill a child, you're not allowed to kill, in one of the narrations, farmers. In some of the narration, you're not allowed to kill a priest or a person who devoted himself to the worship of his religion. You're not allowed to kill such a person.
You know,
if
Sheikh,
it
and
wasn't for his
So if
religion,
it is kufr, that will allow us why the Prophet
and
would
even in
protect.
Fath Makkah, the Prophet didn't kill his people.
Very good. Fath Makkah, they were not Christian or Jews.
They were
And in the
just
Prophet
believers.
didn't kill them. The Prophet ﷺ in Medina, how many Jews and Christians lived
Yes.
with the Prophet
And he
ﷺ?
secured them. You're safe.
Absolutely. So those who claim that killing everyone, for example, they use a verse, فَإِذَا انْسَلَخَ الْأَشْهُرُ الْحُرُمْ فَاقْتُلُوا الْمُشْرِكِينَ حَيْثُ ثَقِفْتُمُوهُم. When the sacred months end, kill the mushrikeen wherever you find them. This is something in the usuliyin, they call it al-amr ba'd al-hadr. Al-amr ba'd al-hadr, which is Allah forbade you from something, then give you the permission to do it. Al-amr ba'd al-hadr, according to the right understanding, the strong understanding of the usuliyin, يُعِيدُ الْحُكُمْ إِلَى الْأَصْلِ. It basically bring the ruling to the original ruling. So before the forbidden was the ruling. The ruling is you fight those who fighting you. So this verse bring the rule to the original, which is you only fight those who fighting.
Yes.
You cannot use this verse to say it abrogate the previous one.
Yeah.
You cannot use that or any similar verse to that.
Yes.
yes, actually after
That's
several
very-
verses, Allah tells us in the same surah that they are actually, breaking their promises. And why don't you fight them when they break the promises and they drive
Absolutely.
you out of your lands? So it's within a context also.
Very good. That's why Imam Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah in Zad al-Ma'ad said, أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم never started a war.
Wow.
In his life,
I was
he never
telling
ever started
Ahmad
a
that.
war. He never attacked. Every war that the Prophet waged
Yes.
was indeed, it's a war against someone who transgressed against him.
the
sallallahu alaihi
Muslim
wasallam.
never took
That's
the
why
initiative.
this hadith that I was ordered to fight people until they say an-nas. One of the things in Sharia and the usuliyin are very familiar with that the general word can be understood in a very specific manner.
Yeah.
So yes, an-nas, but that's related to the people of Quraysh. And that's one of the understanding of the ulama to reconciliate between this evidence and the other evidence that we have. And there is tons of other evidence shows that is not about killing just any person who is a non-Muslim. That's why Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, لا تقتلن امرأة ولا عسيفة. Asifa is a farmer, or a woman, and a ruhban, as we said, and a shuyukh, the old people. So only it is for those who fight, only for those who are participate in the army, but those who are traitor, the people in business, or tujjar, hurrath, fallahin, min as-suqah, the massive, the Prophet ﷺ forbade us from killing them.
But Sheikh,
And Umar radiallahu anhu arda,
well,
when he
for-
sent the army, he said that as well.
Great. For don't kill women or elderly people, or the nuns or monks, until they're proved that they are not dangerous. But if they're dangerous or they form an enemy or a danger to the Muslim army, for example, something like this Jewish woman when she poisoned the food for the Prophet, peace be upon him.
And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did not execute that woman. But ulama rahimahullah said, if one of those category carry a weapon, he's not anymore a civilian. He became a companion. He became an army, a soldier. So, and he fighting you, you fight back.
If it's something like a conspiracy.
This is the only case. But if he's not, he didn't join the army. He's a civilian. You don't target the civilian.
But he helps the army. For example, something like a conspiracy, like betraying, something. She doesn't have a sword, but she is helping the army with some way
Intelligence, maybe.
just to cause harm by one way or another.
We look at every case by itself. This has become a judgment call, a case by case issue. We
Great.
cannot general. The general rules is we should not allow to target civilians. Civilians are protected. So the best way to translate these narrations from the Prophet ﷺ, from Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anh, from Abu Bakr when he sent the army, all of them talk and specifically mention a type of people that in modern language today we call them civilians. They're not part of the army. So those civilians should not be targeted because Islam is not looking to kill people. Even that word that is wait is to basically to stop that transgression against Muslim, to give the chance for the da'wah to be delivered. And that will lead us to a very important discussion, inshallah, in the upcoming episodes, which is what is jihad is. So this is called jihadi movements groups. What even jihad means? What does jihad in modern language look like, in modern days look like? And how can we understand this concept as Muslim? A lot of non-Muslim also very scared of the word jihad, and they don't understand it. And I don't blame them because many Muslims, they don't understand the concept of jihad as well. Inshallah ta'ala, in the coming episodes, we should be talking a lot of details and sharing some good information, inshallah, about this concept that you can help you to understand this concept and help you to explain it even to non-Muslim in a better way. And hopefully it will protect us and our youth, our community, our society from these extreme jihadist groups, and to see the difference between the beautiful sharia of jihad that Muhammad ﷺ came with and the evilness of these jihadi groups today, and how they destroyed the beautiful meaning of jihad through their practices. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us and guide them. Allahumma ameen. With this, we'll come to the end of our episodes. Thank you very much for being with me today. And I would like to thank all our viewers and all the staff here. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Peaceful, 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 peace. Peaceful, 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 peace. Peaceful, 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 peace. Peaceful, 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 peace. We made peace a symbol of ours. In the name of peace we gather here now. Oh Lord, please make these days of ours on this earth filled with peace. Salamun, 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 salam. Salamun, 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 salam. Salamun, 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 salam. Salamun, 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 salam.